What's up everybody, this is Zoya, the Russian Korean, and today is another vlog day, and this time I decided to talk about something different. I usually don't really do this, but since a lot of you guys have been writing about this in the comment section as well as direct messaging me about it, telling me about this, I felt like this would be something worth talking about. So as some of you know, those who have been with my channel, or those who maybe have watched a few of my videos, you probably realize that I don't watch Necrit. And so for this reason, I've been getting a lot of comments that basically say that, Zoya, you don't get it, go watch Necrit, he really got it. Zoya, this is the meaning, Necrit says so. Zoya, go watch Necrit, he is the most reputable and the most trustworthy source for lore, etc, etc, etc. And so I thought I would make a video explaining why I do not watch Necrit. Now, for those of you who are here for the tea spilling sesh, I will unfortunately have to disappoint you. This is not a tea spilling session. I don't have any beef with Necrit and I don't have any dirt on him. Personally, I actually like his channel. I think he makes pretty cool videos and he really goes in depth with the lore. He knows things that a lot of people would miss out on or just be lazy to research themselves, and so he packages it all very nicely in his videos and presents it in a way that is interesting and fun for people to watch. So in that sense, I respect him a lot. But there is also a reason why I personally don't watch his videos, and I will explain why. So I'm not saying that I have never watched a Necrit video. I have seen some of his videos. I think I've seen 3 videos. One of them is the size comparison of champions. He kind of like, based on what he figured out and what he thinks, he was like, okay, I think this guy is this size, this guy is this size, and like that video. Partially seen his video about the age of the champions. I think one of you guys suggested it to me. That's why I thought, okay, I'm gonna watch this since it was suggested to me. And then the third video that I actually watched was his one of his recent videos, which is I forget exactly what it's called, but it's the Path Cinematic Explained. And watching his videos, there's nothing wrong with his videos. His videos are fine. If you like watching him, that's great. But in order for me to talk about why I don't watch him, I have to first talk about, I guess, the videos that I make. So I have a series of videos called Explore the Lore, and it's still developing because I'm still going through it. I've only covered maybe 1/100th of what the universe, I guess, encompasses in itself. And so what I do in my videos is basically go in without any prior research, without any necessarily prior knowledge about what I'm going to talk about, and going into the universe website and just exploring either a specific champion or a specific region, or a universe, as I did with the Odyssey. And the thing about those videos is sometimes I go really in-depth, but sometimes I just want to get a general idea of something. So for example, in my Explore the Lores related to regions, I don't read the individual stories of champions that are in that region because there are just way too many. I also don't cover the specific biographies of the champions from that region. I only really look at the general feel, the artwork, the cinematics that are related to the region, or, the login themes or the music or something like that. And just the general descriptions that Riot provides on the website. And so of course I understand that when viewers, they come in and they see my video and they see that I missed out on certain things, they want to let me know that I missed certain things, and I'm aware that I missed them. And my point is that I'd be able to cover them in the future when I go into the specific stories of champions that potentially will reveal more about that certain region. I guess what I'm trying to say is that my videos are not exhaustive. Necrit, on the other hand, does it the other way. Before he makes his video, he researches a lot. In addition to what he already knows, he has to confirm and make sure that, what he's going to talk about, he knows, the different tangents that are related to it so that he can also touch on them if necessary. So I think the nature of the videos is just very different in themselves. Mine relates more to kind of exploration, reaction, whereas his is, I guess, already pre-researched. That being said, some people have said, why not use Necrit's videos as part of your exploration? And this is, I guess, where the crux of my argument lies. But once again, before I talk about it, I want to explain to you guys how I approach interpreting artwork. So I believe that League of Legends lore is a piece of art. Why? Because, it's it's a creative product of someone's imagination. And yes, even though it's more than one person, they are all working together to create this imaginary world. And so, yes, I think it is a piece of art, even though it's not, just one painting or movie. It's a collaboration of everything, which creates, this artistic product. And when it comes to art, I think there are two things that need to be distinguished from each other, which a lot of people actually confuse. One of them is, what do you see at face value? So for example, let's take like a painting, right? What style is it? What colors does it use? What tools was it created with? Is it made with watercolors? Is it made with pastel? Is it made with, there are lots of things like that you can just look at the painting and see those. But then the other part is what I would call interpretation. So what does this painting convey? What does it mean? And when you start talking about interpretation, you're really getting into kind of a gray area, because each person might interpret it differently. Depending on where you're coming from in your life, what kind of experiences you've had, you might look at that painting from a different perspective. And the problem comes when someone comes in and says, this is what it means, and just puts it out as a fact, like that's what the artwork is trying to convey. And I personally don't agree with that kind of approach, because I believe that a piece of art, as soon as it stands on its own, as soon as it finishes, it should speak for itself. So if someone says, this is what it is, and explains it to me like, okay, this is what it means, I need to be able to say, well, would I have noticed this myself? Would I have seen this myself if you didn't tell me about this? Can the work actually convey this itself? And if it cannot, or if it does not, then I would just go with what I'm getting from the original work itself, not necessarily what somebody else is telling me it is. Now, going back to Necrit's videos, how that relates is basically when he talks in his videos and explains things, I think he combines facts, or what we see or what we know from stories, artwork, and general lore, right? And his commentary, which is like, this is what I think it is. He kind of combines them in such a way that sometimes it's hard to tell what is fact and what's not. So in order not to talk in abstracts, but to give you a specific example, in one of his recent videos, The Lore of the Path animated trailer explained. So he basically talks about the cinematic The Path. It's one of the videos by him that I watched because a lot of you guys did suggest it to me. But in this video, he talks about, the great tree in Ionia that we see in the cinematic. It has this golden foliage and it's really beautiful. He claims that this tree, in fact, is the God Willow, which is also in Lilia's lore, and it was cut down in her story. But he explains that he believes that this is because this is the legend of the elder brother, that at the time of the elder brother, the God Willow was still standing, and to him it makes the most sense that this great tree would be the God Willow. Now, he also notes that there is no confirmation of this. We've never seen the God Willow in any of the artwork, so we don't know what it looks like. And that based on his speculation, this makes the most sense. Now, if I were to watch this, right, and not make any Explore the Lore videos or anything, it would be pretty difficult for me to kind of get that out of my head. Like, okay, this could be the God Willow, but it might not be. And even though he does, and I give him credit for that, he does say that this is just a theory and there's no confirmation. I'm glad that he, is being transparent about it. But at the same time, like, you put that idea in people's head and then, they're probably gonna think that themselves because, oh, well, Necrit said so, and he gave some kind of compelling evidence, so it might as well be, And with that, like, if I'm making an Explore the Lore video, if I want to explore it for myself, I would really want the work to speak for itself, and if there's no confirmation and there's no evidence, then it would be pretty hard for me to make any conclusive statements. Or if I do make any conclusions, then I would be influenced, I guess, by Necrit's opinion. And that is something that I kind of don't want to happen. I don't really want other people's interpretation to influence mine. So this is one of the reasons why I don't watch Necrit, especially right before I make videos or during my research process for the videos. Once again, I just want the work to speak for itself. Now, of course, because Necrit has such vast knowledge of some of the background behind certain, things that we see in cinematics, he can think immediately of, certain stories or certain pictures from the actual lore that would, hint him, oh, I think this is what this is. Then if something like that happens, of course, he's going to catch on to things that I might not, because I just don't know those stories or I have not read them. But I believe that the more I explore, the more I'll become familiar with it, and I don't necessarily need to know ahead about it, because part of exploration is that you acquire knowledge, and then the joy of it is that as you acquire knowledge, you also learn, okay, what I saw back then, that's what it actually was. And it's a pleasant surprise. I guess if I wanted like a lore lecture, I would go to Necrit, but I kind of don't. And another thing, and I mentioned this in another video, it's not just Necrit, it's really anybody. I personally am not a fan of speaking with rioters or asking rioters themselves, like the creators, the devs and those who developed the world and the story, asking them what certain things mean, or like what certain characters smell like, or what certain characters do, things that you don't actually get from their lore. I am not a big fan of that, because even though they are the creators, as soon as they seal the deal, right? They finished their work and they published it for the world to see, the work should speak for itself. If in the work they did not include the detail about, let's say, how Jin smells like, and then somebody asks them during an interview or a stream, like, oh, by the way, what does Jin smell like? And they are like, well, he smells like tomatoes or something. How am I supposed to know this from the lore? Without you telling me, there would have been no way I knew that he smelled like tomatoes. And so if you think that he smells like tomatoes, great, you can think that. But the work does not convey it, which means Jin, in fact, we don't know how he smells like. If you truly thought that that detail was important, you should have included it in the work. Now, I understand that people just do it for fun, and, it's not necessarily that people take it seriously, but it's just the idea of creators adding on to already a finished work that they already put out, that they already published. It's like, well, whatever you're saying right now, I'm just gonna take you with a grain of salt, because your work just doesn't convey that information. So yeah, to summarize my opinion, I do not watch Necrit, especially for research purposes, because A, I want the work to speak for itself, and I believe I don't need anybody else to interpret it for me. And B, I do not want someone else's opinion to influence mine, especially in videos like Explore the Lore, where I am literally trying to learn something from scratch. And C, I think everybody has different ways of, dealing with stories and how they like to learn things. I personally just like to go to the first source, the original source, and to explore things without a mediator in between. Although I understand that there are lots of people out there who are not like that. But how about you? What do you think about Necrit? Do you watch his videos? What's your favorite part about his videos? Or do you not watch him, and what is your reason? How do you go about exploring the lore? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. This is Zoya, the Russian Korean. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.